And I know that there are so many of you who are struggling with this same problem. This is something that plagues so many people. You're going to always be falling behind, because guess what? You're not a fraud. You're not an imposter. You are a winner. Welcome to the Winner's Edge. I'm your host, Roel, and today's topic is a topic I am very excited about. And the reason for that is because this is a problem that I faced for many years. It is something that had bothered me throughout my life for a great portion of my life. Even today, it still creeps up from time to time. And I know that there are so many of you who are struggling with this same problem. It has affected my success. It has affected my growth. It has affected me taking action in doing the things that I know I can do and should do. And that is talking about the imposter syndrome. I don't know how many of you have heard about that before, but this is something that plagues so many people. And if you don't find a way to set yourself free from this, or at least put yourself in a position where you can overcome this problem, you're going to always be falling behind. You're not going to be able to take the actions that you should be taking. You're not going to be able to see the type of success that's out there for you. And on the Winner's Edge, my aim is to bring you the strategies and the philosophies and the reframing to help you to take your life from average to unstoppable. And in this episode, I'm going to break down what the imposter syndrome is. I'm going to share with you a couple of examples about myself. And also, I'm going to share with you some steps that you can take to overcome this problem. So let us get straight into the episode. So the imposter syndrome, if you have never heard about it, this is actually a psychological pattern that individuals have where they doubt their own accomplishments. And oftentimes they have this persistent or sometimes irrational fear of being exposed as a fraud or an imposter, feel like you don't belong in a particular space. And as an example, for this YouTube channel, for this podcast, I had this idea now for 3.5 years. I want you to understand it. I had this idea for 3.5 years. I knew what I wanted to call it. I knew I wanted to call it the Winner's Edge. I knew that I was going to interview people of some form of success. I'm going to interview people that have some level of influence. I'm going to interview experts in their field. I knew the logo that I was going to use. I knew the concept. I knew the people that I wanted to serve. I wanted to serve individuals just like you. So I knew all of that 3.5 years ago. But I never started this YouTube channel until just a week ago. I started this YouTube channel literally on June 3rd, 2024. So this, depending on when you're seeing this episode, I want you to understand. So 3 years prior, I had this idea, but never took action on it. And you might say, Roel, you've been around personal development for some time. Why didn't you take action? It's because of the imposter syndrome. And here's how that works, right? First thing, I know that I wanted to, on my channel, I wanted to bring value to you. Value such as, how do you accomplish success? How do you become great at anything that you set your mind at? How do you start a business? How do you lead a successful relationship? How do you, do the things that you have in your heart and soul to do? But here's what my imposter syndrome was saying to me. Hey, what do you know about starting a business? What do you know about leading a YouTube channel? How do you know how to attract followers? Right? What do you know about relationships? You have been in so many failed relationships before. How can you bring value to people that telling them about leading great relationships, right? You have had failed businesses before. How credible are you to bring value to people, teaching them how to have a successful business? And that's a type of negative self-talk that I've gone through for the past 3 years. And as I said before in the definition, oftentimes it's an irrational fear, right? Because I made sense of the idea that it's true. I don't know anything about YouTube. I don't know anything about podcasting. I have a IT background. I have a business background. This is not my space. So coming here on camera to talk with you today make me feel like an imposter, right? I feel like an imposter. I feel like I don't belong here, right? I don't have the tools to share with you the value that I know you need to take your life from average to great. But here's the reality though. When you really look at it, I do have the skills. What makes me credible? I've spent the past 20 years in personal development. I've gone through seminars. I've done a lot of coaching sessions. I've been mentored by some of the greatest mentors on the planet, people like Tony Robbins and Les Brown and the late Jim Rohn that passed in 2009. So I have been affected by so many people who their philosophies and teachings and mentoring had shaped and affected my life in such a way that I am credible enough to bring the same value to you because I know it's going to affect and impact your life as well. But because of the imposter syndrome, I find myself having these negative self-talk, and because of that, 3.5 years later, I'm just starting my YouTube channel. So you see how that works, right? Now, one of the things that you have to understand if you want to overcome this challenge is there are several different ways you can go about it. But one way that I use that really helped me a lot is preparation. Preparing for what you want to do. So like for instance, let us say for instance, you want to start a business. Now you should do some preparation. You should start to look into what the business is, who are the customers that you're going to serve. Is it a service? Is it a product? And who would this benefit? And do that type of research. Do the type of research as to, should you do this online or should you have a brick and mortar store? Should you start a podcast or should you write a book? Do the research of the audience, the people that you would want to impact. And once you start to have that type of preparation, it kind of helps to minimize the effect or the impact that the imposter syndrome has on you. Hey, it's not a magic trick, right? So I know you really want to continue watching the video, but if you haven't done so as yet, please make sure that you subscribe. And at the end of this video, make sure that you leave a comment. I really want to hear from you. And share this. Somebody that you know wants to get this message. So make sure that you're sharing this as well. Okay? So subscribe, leave a comment, turn on your notifications as well so that you can hear all the juicy stuff that I'm going to bring out afterward. Okay, get back to the video now. Bye. All right. A second thing that you could do is reframing. I love reframing. On this channel, you're going to learn a lot about reframing. It's taking an idea and putting a new perspective to it, right? So in other words, a lot of times when people show up, the reason the imposter syndrome is so powerful and affects them so much is because they're thinking more about themselves. They're thinking about, hey, I am not capable. I don't have the tools. I've gone through a lot of failed relationships. I can't talk about successful relationships. I've lost money in businesses. I can't talk about successful businesses. I have tried things before and failed multiple times. So I don't have the credibility to speak on these things. So once you come from that perspective of what happened to you, a lot of times it will make it more impactful. The imposter syndrome become more impactful in your life, and it will stop you, right? So how do you reframe this? You could start to look at where you are right now. Let us say you have gone through bad relationships, or let us say you had failed in business several times. I would assume that you learned from those processes. You would have learned some lesson, and somebody is about to do that same thing. Somebody's about to walk that same path that you had just passed, right? Somebody's going to enter that tunnel that you have already seen the light of that tunnel. And because of that, you can now be a mentor or a guide to that person. Now, you might not be able to mentor, guide, or lead the person who is ahead of you because you're chasing that person. That person is your mentor. You're following that person. The person that have 1 million followers on YouTube, you're looking at what they're doing and trying to model them. But guess what? There's somebody else that has not yet started a YouTube channel. There's somebody else that has not yet started a business. There's somebody that didn't write a business plan. There's somebody that doesn't have a business idea. And you can now start to bring those ideas to the forefront, knowing that you have an audience of people that can look to you for the results that you have already gotten, right? A third thing in that, and I think this ties into that second step of reframing, it is showing yourself compassion. You see, a lot of times you may have way more than you're giving yourself credit for. You may be more capable than you're giving yourself credit for. You may have more experience than you're giving yourself credit for. Yes, you might not have the Lamborghini outside. You might not be able to travel the world. You might not be able to go on multiple vacations per year, but you have experiences that somebody else wish they had, and you can share your experiences. How did you get from where you were to where you are right now? Like, for instance, going back to my example, right? 3.5 years ago, I had an idea to start a YouTube channel called The Winner's Edge. It took me 3.5 years to start that channel. Now, if I share this story with you, can you agree? If you haven't started your YouTube channel before, you don't have to take 3.5 years to do it. You can get off this video the moment you stop watching this video. You can actually go out and start a YouTube channel. So what took me 3.5 years, now I brought that to you. You can now take action on that and have it done in a few minutes, a day, a week, right? So you could use my story to start, right? And now I become the person that guides you along that path. And you can do that for other people as well. What it is that you have done, what have you accomplished, or what are you working on right now that you know if you should put it out there in the world, somebody else would benefit from that. I would highly, highly encourage you, put that out there, right? So if you have ever faced this before, if you have ever wanted to start a YouTube channel, if you have ever wanted to start a business, if you have ever wanted to go back to school, if you have ever wanted to pursue a particular career path, but every time you have the idea, you talk yourself out of it, I want you to leave it in the comments below. Let me know some of the stuff that you're struggling with, and let us take this journey together, right? Let us help each other as we navigate this thing called life and break free from the curse of the imposter syndrome. Because guess what? You're not a fraud. You're not an imposter. You are a winner. And that's how you gain the winner's edge. So, looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, please share. If you have not subscribed us yet, please subscribe to the channel. Super excited to have you here. Can't wait to explore this journey with you. Take care. Walk good.